it gives you so much advantage. And Invoker pick actually from HOT6.
Well,
drafted twice in their upper bracket finals, but I believe neither game they won, and it was drafted once by each team. Maybe it was, I don't remember. It was drafted twice, I remember, and once by each team.
They've had MP on Invoker a bit.
Yes.
I mean, it's a classic hero of his, so.
Does it work particularly well in this lineup for what they're trying to go for? Is it more of a, we want this part of our lineup, or is it more of a counter to the other team's lineup? I'm not sure. I think it's just they might be comfortable with the Invoker.
If they're doing Exo Invoker, it works out great with like the Shadow Demon, Lina, Leshrac. There's plenty of setup for Sunstrikes on the map, but I think much more likely it's Quaswex. The control it offers, it's a much more stable way to play the Invokers, so I think it's most likely a Quaswex. If they're going Exo Invoker, they have got a very volatile draft with a lot of weaknesses.
So. A lot of magic damage coming out in that middle game.
Yeah, they just
middle game.
I mean, at that point, your cores is like Brood, Invoker, and Leshrac. You just don't really have the best team fight there if you're going Exo Invoker. But
right, I would agree. All right, well, this is do or die for MVP Phoenix. If MVP HOT6 take this game, they'll be going to Seattle as a direct member of that main invite event, whereas MVP HOT6 looking good. MVP Phoenix, if they lose, they're to Seattle as well, but they'll have to claw their way through that wild card. So with that said, guys, we're going to hand it over to our casters, Blitz and Gods.
Thanks, K-Poptosis. We've got Game 3, and I'm Gods, as said. Joining me is Blitz. It's been a pleasure to cast with you as always, Blitz.
If this is our last game, I had a really good time. Thanks so much. ETS owns. Glad we were able to do this together.
And you guys at Join Dota are pretty awesome too.
Man, you're so cute. We're doing it. We're bridging the gap.
Yesterday there was Toby. You know, Toby and LD were casting together, but apparently they spent 30 minutes flaming me. So I don't know if that counts as bridging the gap or not. We'll right back. Got plenty of LD stories I can tell. I'm sure you've got more than one about Toby. So
let's just quit. You know, leave the heads of our studios respectively. You know, and create our own studio.
What do we want to call it? I'm sure there's a meme in there somewhere that you're gonna.
The battle begins.
You come up with a name. We'll have a name for you guys after this game, hopefully.
It'll come to me.
So here we go. Laning wise, Sunday in the offline on Brood. Very unconventional placing for the webs. Did 2 of them over the tree line. Very defensive in nature. And we'll get the D1 on the Radiant Sentry Ward. So nice early start for him.
This is pretty significant as well because, you know, if you're going to take this one out, they don't want to devote another one directly into that area because he has that other side to play from. It's one of those things where I think Sunbeast played this enough times where he's saying to himself, I'm just going to force him into one scenario or another. And this is so huge that Jarex, again, he comes in and within the first 30 seconds is able to kind of level out this lane and just help MP out so much by forcing the Queen of Pain to play on the defensive, and she has to use her blink.
Huh. Somebody just TP's out. He says, you just put another sentry down? Easy for us. Well, easy for me. That's 2 sentries already committed, just to force Brood to TP out of the lane.
Oh, and mid QO is getting quite low, and I mean, he's just had to play defensively so long for now.
It really feels like HOT6 are just a step ahead every single game so far, and this game no different. Sunby has already pulled back now, and I doubt they have more sentries yet.
Yeah, I think they have a pair of dusts, but I don't think it matters so much. You do need the dust in conjunction with the sentries, I feel, for the kill potential on the Broodmother, but the sentries are what allow you to pressure him and make him feel unsafe without either of these sentries here. And the thing is, as a support, David, you don't want to spend another 200 gold just for sentries because playing a tri-lane against a Broodmother is the most miserable thing in the entire world because he just trades so much better than you in the mid-game.
It just felt very counterproductive with their sentry usage to start things off. It hasn't really helped. The Brood just is getting XP now and will gradually get leveled. And that's not a very... I mean, that's a non-impact sentry ward at this point. So all lanes not going great. The offlane Darkseer is still level 1. Q is being pressured by the roaming Lina. And March just said, I'm out of here. I'm going to go jungle. I do like the decision that he didn't just stay top, keep throwing down Iron Shells and never getting experience. At some point, Darkseer needs XP even more so than he maybe needs some early CS.
Oh yeah, definitely. And typically you're going to see him kind of pressure these melee cores or these dual lanes that don't have the potential to kill him. But it's a Leshrac Shadow Demon. He can't even walk up there for fear of dying. And I think he's making the correct decision here. The downside for MVP Phoenix right now, though, is they don't have the best way to kill this Broodmother. And I feel like you have to shut a Broodmother down early. Otherwise, she just snowballs and gets on top of your supports. and it's going to be hard for them to have mid-game rotations.
Not only are they not shutting Brood down, they've spent 290 gold on sentries and dust so far, and not really done anything against Brood. They've now brought out more sentries. Plot one down in the lane here. I'm not sure if Sunbee's been made aware of this just yet.
Yeah, he has to be careful. All he has to really do in this lane is not die. Like, buy time for yourself, wait things out, wait for MVP to get a little bit impatient, and this is okay because typically you'll see the Earthshaker rotate so many times, right? Like, he'll pressure the mid lane with the Queen of Pain, but with him just kind of being forced into this bottom lane at all times, I feel like this is exactly what MVP HOT6 want.
And MP playing well in the mid lane against the Queen of Pain has slight CS advantage thanks to the Lena's help for the most part, and we'll see Lena now back towards the top lane, doing some pulls, trying to get maybe some farm and levels of his own on the Jarek's Lena.
In this mid lane, though, Q is actually doing quite well for himself. He's, in terms of CS, yes, he's got 12, but the Invoker doesn't have too much more than that. And if you remember how the early went with the Lena coming in, I think this is an okay start for him so far. Yep. One that he won't tilt off of for sure.
Well, Phoenix now going to start putting down some pressure here on the bottom lane, but unlikely to be able to push this. Brew can just start building up that Spiderling army, and this is where things will get a bit problematic, as Febby, though, does find an Invis rune, gets that without being detected as well, and he may make a move. Yeah, it looks like he's going to make a move towards mid lane. Something that should have been reported by the Brood, but the fact that it's an Invis rune could cause MP problems.
The lane is pushed in as well, so I feel like he doesn't know about this in mid. They're going to make the move. This should mean the fissure block off as well. No, he misses it.
Ooh. At the same time, Kira can't really commit. There's a very low HP. Does have the bottle charges now, but that seems very, very costly. Should have been a kill.
Yeah, they're going to be disappointed about that because I feel like if he manages to wall him off there, they can still just sort of kite him. But
yep.
The issue is that if you gank a Quaswex Invoker, the regen on the hero is so high that it feels like it amounted for nothing, and you opened up more space with the Broodmother. So MVP Phoenix not off to the start that they were hoping for in this game.
Yeah, this is a Brood who's already hit level 4, has just about enough money for the Soul Ring, and that's when Brood level 5 with Soul Ring, you're doing fine. You can farm the enemy jungle, you can stay in the lane for a long time, and very unlikely that any ill will comes your way. So top lane, looks like that's where the Earthshaker then moved on towards as Darkseid hits level 3, but these two supports in the top river have not been seen by any Radiant Vision yet. And this is looking very dangerous for this off lane here. They've got the Earthshaker Fissure, but maybe the Earthshaker they go on. Jarek's coming in from behind. They're going to disrupt up the Earthshaker. Darkseid going to surge himself, but he's just going to leave Febby to die here. I think he needs to try and find a TP out, and he's done. You betcha. 4-rep. Catches out March, and that's going to be 2 kills going the way of MVP HOT6 to start Game 3 off.
Oh, and QO's making a move for it right now. He doesn't have vision.
That Quas regen. He's bottling up. One more right click, that's still not going to be enough. That Quas regen, he's saying, heal me up, and he's going to survive. Oh no. He's going to go for Heen instead, but Heen's got Shadow Poison stacks. No, not going to be enough.
Yeah, but that's still a pretty hefty commitment from a Queen of Pain because the ultimate is where the majority of your damage comes from, and it's going to be how you pressure that Invoker. And now that the Invoker knows that it's down, he's never going to be worried about anything. Even a rotation at this point, I feel, doesn't provide you the burst damage necessary because the turnaround potential of the Quaswex Invoker is so high. And so these limited opportunities that they get, I mean, once they slip, it just opens up so much for the Invoker because the mid-hero relies on knowing whether or not he can be pressured or killed. And once MP has that knowledge, he's like, okay, the Queen of Pain can no longer kill me. It just kind of opens up the map for you a little more.
Yep. We saw this last time KP played. Sven does like to level up Cleave over his other skills and has already got 3 points in Cleave, and looks like will be... Last time he rushed a Helm of the Dominator, used it to help stack the Ancients, and later on broke it down to turn into a Mask of Madness. And if he wants, he can even turn the Helm into the Armlet component at that point, but he really likes that fast Dominator just for the stacking component. But this is no Ancient stacks just yet, just neutral camp stacked up for the time being.
Yeah, he's pretty satisfied with what's going on right now. He's doing a good job at bottom lane as Q is going to get gone on, and he's actually dripping quite low when he drops. And I did not expect that. Like, that cold snap did so much.
Yeah, that cold snap guaranteeing the EMP, and that was well-executed kill. This is where, I mean, HOT6, you kind of talked about confidence in yourself being a key factor here, and like teams just mentally killing themselves. MP, you're up 2-0, you're having a series of your life, and you feel confident that that gank is going to work every single time. Sunby, though, meanwhile, bottom lane will get caught out here, and it looks like the first kill going to go Phoenix's way in game 3.
Radiant's middle tower is under
Yeah, they
attack.
absolutely needed this for confidence alone. Like, you actually have to send a
Dire's
message
bottom
that
tower is
we're
under
not just going to
attack.
play reactively, we're actually going to be proactive, try to get some kills where we can, and that's not an insignificant pickup. Being able to pick off the Brood, not losing any of the supports in the process, which is often what we see, and the Queen of Pain has her ultimate back.
Dire's
I think
bottom
things
tower
are
is under
relatively okay right now for the Phoenix squad, as things kind of reset a little bit.
And Invis Rune at bottom lane will be claimed by QO as well now. Gives him some ganking potential with Sonic Wave back up. This is something which could work in his favor. There's a Lina waiting for him in mid lane though, and all it's going to take is a tornado to set this one up. They see him, and Jerix is in the perfect position. LSA is waiting and ready. Q gets cold snap. He may die again. Doesn't even get the Invis Rune off. Oh boy, that is just such a well-executed gank. HOT6 are playing some incredible Dota this series, I've got to say.
Yeah, they're going for risky ganks, and I feel like they're playing with the flair of a team that realizes that they're the better team. Because how often do you go for that where you don't have a reliable stun, it almost entirely relies on position. The Lina was playing quite aggressively forward as well, so her smoke could have popped at any time, but that's just confidence, knowing that you're going to reach for that and get it. Febi's at this top lane right now, and they need to get something out of it as they rotate both supports.
Well, the cast starts bouncing around with a Maledict here. Jerax going to take some damage. QO rotates in the Sonic Wave, not going to finish off Leshrac, but after the disruption he does go down. Nice 2-hero stun, but there's still no turnaround yet here in the top lane, as they will get a secondary kill on the Queen of Pain. Starting to look good for Phoenix, but here comes Invoker. EMP catches out a couple. Carl's going to go for the second time in the fight. Nice Darkseid wall with the Iron Sword. They're trying to get the Invoker, but he's too fast. Those Wex points working in his favor as he may look to turn and fight. There's going to be a Stormbot as KP's even TP'd in, and with good reason, as he'll bring down MP. That's much needed gold going the way of the MVP Phoenix carry, as HOT6 gets shut down in the top lane. A big gold swing going their way in a 4-for-0 trade.
What a fantastic fight for Phoenix as well. They were so much more prepared for that than HOT6 were. I think HOT6 got a little bit too cocky. For example, they were kind of just going in one by one, realizing too late that that fight was just not going to go their way.
Well, this fight is not over just yet. Sven going to find himself disrupted under the tower, and then Lina's come back in as well. KP may have claimed the tier 1 tower and a kill onto the Invoker, but he's now trapped and on the run. Won't have a TP. He's got a juke using this Quelling Blade. Can he do it? No, he can't. Shadow Demon Poison's going to be enough to finish him off, but just the one kill going HOT6's way, as well as a tier 1 tower. Space for Sunby created.
And that's just standard Brood, right? You give this hero an inch and he'll take a mile. You leave him alone for that extra second where you decide to go for that top lane. Yes, you get it, but this is kind of expected, and it's not the worst thing in the world for MVP Phoenix right now, because you leave a Brood alone, you know what's going to happen. It's, I mean, you do have the heroes to deal with it, and you've got great heroes as well, because the Darkseer needs the safe lane farm, I feel, because the Sven can just go do the jungle, and you need a hero that can rotate down there and deal with it, and the fact that they have an offlaner in the Darkseer that they pick so early works so well for their team.
And KP, level 8 now. He's not really started to accelerate his farm too much, but with the Helmet Dominator picked up, he's now dominated a range creep and will start to go look to stack those Ancients with it, I imagine. As the smoke now going to come his way, they're looking for this Brood. They do pop, but Brood's on the other side of the trees. Fissure will not find Brood, just the little Broodlings. As Sunby just going to hide on top.
I think they know where he is, but they just unfortunately can't do anything about it. And they've wasted the dust as well, and so they're trying to drag him and lead him to that sentry vision, but I don't think Sunby's going to fall for it. He's just going to go for the safe move, play further down away from the supports and just try to cut the wave, because he realizes that's the safest place to be. But MVP, yeah, they're going to go, they might go for the push, but they have to realize that they only have one creep to do it with, one creep wave.
That one creep wave could be enough if they want to try pop the Sven God Strength, but at this point, maybe feeling like they just want to get back. And Febi's TP top match there as well. Forever is incredibly low, and he may think they're pushing bottom lane. If they got in with a surge stun or a fissure there, I think they could have almost killed the Leshrac. Very aggressive play coming in.
MP, though, is coming up top right now, I think, just to kind of scout out where heroes are, because, I mean, they pretty much just vanished off the map right now, as Warnut just gets a really aggressive ward placed into the dire side. And I think they need wards like that just to be able to kind of control that bottom lane out, make sure that nobody's helping the Brood, because usually with the Brood you only use one hero.
And the same game from earlier, they're going to bring down QO. MP just waits for him to go for the last on the creep, knows he's going to hit the tornado as a result, and Jarex is ready.
Yeah, and I mean, I talked about QO. I mean, he's my buddy. We used to make bets all the time, like, if you feed, you owe me dinner. That was how we used to get in each other's heads, and he would just... When he won, he'd give me this big shit-eating grin, like, I got you. And he wouldn't say anything, and that was even more annoying than my type of trash talk, where I'm going to get up in your face. And so, but I knew that I always made that bet because I wanted to get in his head as much as possible, and I feel like this is getting into his head. Like, he hates when heroes rotate to mess with him, and I feel like they're doing such a good job of just kind of shaking that confidence as much as they can right now.
He's a very cocky player, and it normally works in his favor, but at the same time, when he gets a slow start, yeah, this is where he's being punished. And we're seeing Leshrac on the dire side with a 13-minute Bloodstone, only being out-farmed by the Radiant Sven, who is looking pretty scary still. Working on the BKB, KP is getting farmed slowly.
He's going for an entirely farm-intensive build as well. Just that single level of the Storm build. The rest going the way of stats and that cleave. And I think against the Brood Mothers, this is the right idea.
And Sunbeam gonna get blown up. Nice rotation. Cure was ready, and this feels like the first game where Cure, yeah, he's fed a few times, but he still seems to be playing more disciplined than he did in the previous two games.
Definitely.
I don't know what it is. Yes, I mean, that's certainly like the first big turnaround play he's made, but even that last death, it's like, well, it doesn't feel like that was a tilt death like we saw in Game 1 and Game 2, where he would just try overcommit to make something happen. It feels like he's playing much more reserved this game in a good way.
Oh, for sure. And for people that think that I'm harping on QO too much, that's not the case at all. I love this guy. He plays exactly like I do. A better style? Yeah, he's a lot better of a player than I am, and he's evolved, but his mentality, I feel, and where he's weak is kind of my weaknesses as well. And so, but I do want to see him succeed, and that's why, you know, it's good for him to run into these scenarios where they're going to pressure him heavily and to see how he kind of responds and bounces back. And like you said, for this second game, or the third game actually, yeah, he's being pressured, but none of his deaths feel like they were really avoidable, right? Like, they were just great setups by MVP HOT6.
And his rotations have been on point. Like, they're much more thought through. When they went top lane, won that big team fight, there when he's ready to help out against the Brood. So we'll see what comes next here. As MVP Phoenix, it does feel like at 15 minutes in, this is by far the best game so far for them of the series. But it's still a very under-farmed Cure. This time around, he will not be Wolf. He hasn't been able to dodge the tornado many times. MP will hit him again, and down he goes. That one may be a bit more dodgeable, but it's hard.
Yeah, so it was just a good setup. He wasn't really prepared. The long-range initiation from the Invoker. This hero pick is paying off so much because it's setting up better than the Shadow Demon is. Every single time he lands a tornado, there's just not enough time for any hero to respond out of that, really. Like, blink or no blink, you're just not going to get out of that once the setup settles there. It looks like MVP, they've kind of hit the timing as they're kind of used to, I think, having a bigger lead, but I think they're okay with this one as well.
Oh, what a cast death look from the sidelines, but gets cancelled by Nuts. He didn't get the cast bounce I was hoping for. Stormfall catches two, but the wall fissure is kind of blocking their way here. KP finally going to go forward, but he's already lost two teammates. Queen of Pain now respawned up, but KP being slowed down. The Demonic Purge keeps him in place. 3 dead for nothing. As Jarex looking for one more. Febby, Cold Snap is there to help him out. MP marches forward, needs to be careful. The Sonic Wave comes through, but it's too late to save Earthshaker. But it's QO looking to clean up. Leshrac especially low scream. Oh! By the skin of his teeth, he survives. That cloak just saved his life.
Yeah, and Q is going to be really disappointed with that because if he had been able to kill the Leshrac, knock off some Bloodstone charges early, and gotten away with that kill, I feel like that would have been an acceptable trade for MVP, especially since it would have been QO getting both of the last hits on clutch heroes.
So the start of this fight, that fissure from Fabby kind of worked against him in the end. It looked nice. That cast just never went to the Lina. If that cast bounces to the Lina, you get a lot more Death Ward damage off. It still bounced around fantastic, but they just didn't want to run in. Not into a Leshrac.
Yeah, they just weren't ready to commit to the fight, and smartly as well, because MP waited with his tornado, was looking for the counter initiation, and I think that was just a pure bait by MVP HOT6. The one misstep that I feel like they really had here was diving this far for Febby. There's no way that's worth it in this type of scenario. I mean, look at MP. He's got no HP left, and he's going all in for it.
Yeah. Well, HOT6 not going to slow down. They smoke up immediately again. This is the HOT6 classic. They just keep on running at you. KP going to make his way in right towards where they just were, but won't get scouted out immediately.
He's got a BKB next time for this next fight, though, and I think that's pretty pivotal because right now there's just so many stuns right now that he has to run into. It does come down to how the Shadow Demon reacts and when he decides to pop that Purge as well.
I think if he had the BKB last fight, it could have maybe been slightly more even, although probably still a bad fight for Phoenix because, like you say, there's still a Demonic Purge.
Yeah, this bottom tier 2 actually hasn't been taken by this Broodmother.
I do not like the Vlad's build myself. This is not what you'd normally see coming out on Brood.
It feels a little bit too one-dimensional. Like, you can't really rotate to any lanes and set up for anything.
It's just a very, it's like a small low-impact item that you'd maybe want out from your supports or something. Doesn't really help the Brood farm fast. It doesn't help you push that much faster.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Maybe if you're looking to, if you're getting the Vlads, if you're coming to join the fights with your team, that's where this item makes a bit more sense, and maybe what we're seeing here. As Sunbi has actually rotated towards this top tier 2, but it gets scattered out, and obviously they do see the couple of webs sitting on top of them here. Expecting the Brood to be rotating in here to help out.
And they're doing a good job right now, just kind of waiting things out as KP, I mean, he gets silenced. They're just trying to force the BKB off, and it looks like they do want to get into a fight here.
KP marches forward, there's the Demonic Purge, BKB stun, he's still slowed down, pops the God's Ring, can he get in close? He doesn't really get any right clicks off. The Disruption coming into play, now they catch up to 4M. The Cleave's coming through, but KP is BKB about to wear off, he gets silenced, now the stun, off the mark, KP ran past, goes forward to the Shadow Demon, looking for the SD, Heen gets low, KP, nice surge, will get him to safety. That's the only kill out of everything, though, as now he's going to run to the Brood, gets the kill with the Queen of Pain, QO, coming up big there. As the Tornado flying through, doesn't not catch the Sven. 2-for-0 trade was the 10-second BKB, but I think Phoenix will be pretty pleased with that one.
Oh, they're definitely going to be happy about that, especially since they caught the Brood out, and they didn't really even mean to catch him out. It just kind of happened to be there. He's like, oh, maybe I can take on the Sven. Immediately goes down. I mean, not a good fight for MVP HOT6 because they don't even end up... Do they end up with the tower atop?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it got denied or... the bottom tier 2. I think destroyed by the Brood. Okay. So.
Okay. Then they're probably okay with that trade, but losing 2 heroes, especially one that I felt like you didn't have to lose, not the best trade.
Yeah. They'll start chewing away at the Sven BKB, and you can see there some of the problems Sven is going to have in this game. He gets kited very badly, even during BKB. Demonic Purges there. Now there's a Yule Scepter on Leshrac, and outside of BKB, Tornado, Lina stun, Leshrac stun, the Brood slows, the Disruption. And even when he's BKB'd up, he goes on the target, they get defensively disrupted. There is just a lot of answers to the kind of solo carry in the Sven. They have to combo with the Darkseer really well, it feels like. Darkseer needs a blink, if anything.
I would really like it if all the cores on MVP Phoenix as well went for a BKB. You saw how effective it was on KP. They dealt no damage. They just had to buy time. But I feel like if you have 3 BKBs on the Darkseer, onto the Queen of Pain, onto the Sven, I felt like it'd be too hard to deal with. His Q gets silenced up. But this is just a defensive measure more than anything.
Yeah. No, I think absolutely. The BKBs, there's Orchids online for the MVP squad. It's going to be an item which can help go a long way for their team. And they did go for a Blink Dagger on KP now, so he gets some initiation. I mean, he has problems getting kited and getting in close to hit targets. That's where this Blink Dagger can definitely help out a lot. We'll see what he can make do with it.
And he's got enough damage. He doesn't really lack for that, as his tank ability as well is really high. I don't think he needs much more. Like, if he goes for something like the partner in AC, he's still going to get kited just as much. That's not really going to change, because the one thing that prevents that is the BKB.
Well, they get close to Sunbi here at the top lane. Not going to get the kill, though. Sunbi playing with fire. There are so many Radiant Sentry Wards all around this top and middle lane. He's just walking through what looks like a minefield here. This Queen of Pain will blink forward, throw a scream. The vacuum dust is there, and Sunbi on his own will easily, or looks like it's easily escaped. Queen of Pain rocks up with a Shadow Strike. Sonic Wave available as well. They'll even use it here. Sunbi gets another web up, pops the ultimate. May look to turn in life, so blink, scream, defensive disruption. Heen could be the target instead. One more right click, Coconuts come and help out. Sunbi, meanwhile, gets low, brought down by the Sven. They're going to kill off another in the Leshrac. Leshrac TP'd into just certain death, and a great fight for Phoenix. If they can catch up MP, they'll get another kill, and you betcha they will. MP, thought he's invulnerable there, but the Sentry Ward detects him, and now they go into Roshan. 4 for nothing.
All of a sudden, everything's been turned around. It's this BKB right now by this Sven. They just don't really have an answer for it, as the MVP HOT6 lineup just doesn't deal enough damage. That's what it really feels like to me. It kind of feels like they're delaying fights, but they don't really have the finishing move that they need to be able to take out this Sven, to be able to take out this Queen of Pain.
What are you up to, Jerax? I was just about to say, I'm watching Jerax, I'm like, this is a typical Jerax play. Look to make something happen, but he does not get the normal Jerax outcome. He's been making these high-risk plays all day long and mostly been met with success, but this time around he's going to get punished once. Does prevent the Roshan in the end, as it looks like Phoenix will back off and leave the pit empty, where Roshan did get down to around half HP, and with a Brood on your side, they're thinking, let's take this, and I think Phoenix will just have to let this one go.
That's a worthwhile trade, though, for Phoenix, because you don't want to overcommit to the Stakus. It doesn't mean what it used to. When you had that 8-minute timer, this 5-minute timer typically means that you're going to be able to take out one Tier 2 tower relatively uncontested, but beyond that, I feel like it's going to take another Aegis for them to be able to
They're back, though. They're actually coming in to fight this one. They may get there just in time. It's going to be close. Febby needs a Fissure, and Fissure soon. He gets in. No, he gets used up in the air. Depthing Blast from the low ground. Aegis goes to Sven, and the Roshan kill. Sunbee's trying to fight his way through this one. It's QO in trouble. Silenced up. QO still alive and kicking. He's got the blink out now if he wants to. Sven is just tearing apart. MVP HOT6. It's a 2 for nothing, and they're looking for a third. MP isolated. Brought down. Another kill going the way of Phoenix, and oh boy, Jerax has respawned, and he's not really respawned into a good position here. Jerax has a defensive yield, looking to maybe dodge the Stormbolt with this instead. Uses it on Sven, and now the chase is on. TP should not work. Does no mana for a stun, unfortunately. Okay. Well, either way, Phoenix is going to be happy. We're going to take another look at that one, because that fight, I did not expect them to get back in time for Roshan. Great yules initially from Jerax, prevented the fissure, but BKB God Strength just came in and swiped Roshan down, taking the Aegis.
If you notice as well, MP in the backlines tried to do anything that he could. I mean, he gets the silence off, yeah, but at the same time, he misses with the Deafening Blast, the Tornado EMP combo, and once you do that, he doesn't really do anything against this Sven with the BKB. Like, he doesn't even slow him down, and they're just struggling too hard in these fights to put out any sort of damage. As you see, all of MVP Phoenix walk away with most of their health intact.
Now he breaks apart the Dominator. Armlet, Mask of Madness. Saw him do this last time with the IO Tiny. He's about to hit level 16 as well. It seems this Sven pick just works great for MVP. With the Darkseer, it kind of makes up to some extent not having the Wisp. It just gives you that little bit of synergy that the Sven needs for a setup. Great lockdown with the Earthshaker Fissure when needed as well, so...
I think the Blink Dagger was the best choice as well. Being able to get on top of the Leshrac, just being able to get him really low. The Leshrac doesn't... he's got a Yules, but he doesn't have anything like a Blink or a 4-step after that to be able to deal with that, and now... this should mean his death.
He was maybe a warding expedition there, but just the one kill so far. They throw dust looking for Brood. Doesn't look like they caught him initially, but they've got a Necro 3 for vision. Blink Scream. QO, did he figure out where he was? Doesn't look like... No, he's going to send the Necrobook north, and that is very close to finding Sunbee, but not quite.
Still, being able to catch out Heen into the jungle, I think this is just confidence kill after confidence kill right now for MVP Phoenix, as they start to realize that the type of grip they have in this game, and this Queen of Pain has her Necrobook 3, so dealing with the Broodmother isn't an issue anymore. And does anybody on MVP HOT6 actually have a BKB yet? Because I feel like that's another core pickup for them, is MP is kind of beginning one, and it looks like Forev is deciding to go for the Shivas, which I agree with, and Sunbee also opting to go for the BKB, but you just really haven't felt this Broodmother's impact this game so far.
Yeah, 0, 5, and 0. I mean, yeah, Brood doesn't normally pick up big kill and assist scorelines because you're off on your own. You're normally applying pressure rather than getting kills, but he hasn't itemized or done the normal Brood things. He's tried to come to fights, went for the Vlads, didn't go for that like Midas Necrobook or Midas Dagon or even the fighting. You can go for the fighting build, but the Vlads pickup seems very out of place this game, as well as the playstyle just being very well countered by MVP Phoenix.
Yeah, so this Sven, before he had a Helm of Dawn, like you mentioned, just for the stacks, the Mask of Madness beefs him up so much. It did get nerfed. I believe you don't get the move speed like you used to anymore, right? But the Blink Dagger sort of negates that for the Sven anyways. And once he builds the crit as well, I think that this guy's just going to be unstoppable.
Yep. And right now, HOT6 Invoker's just roaming through the Radiant jungle saying, I don't really want to defend. I want to see if there's one hero that's maybe not over in that mid lane that I can try pick off. They're actually going to go for a pure split push play here before it even TPs in with Boots of Travel. So gave up trying to farm up the Shivers for now just to go for some split push. But you're against a Mask of Madness Sven with Godstrength. Good luck winning this race. Necro 3 also on the side of MVP Phoenix.
Yeah, and they do lose the bottom tower, but they'll be okay with that because it's a minor thing in the context of this game, as their mid tower is going to get pushed up right now. The Sven, I believe, still does have the Aegis, and Febby has a blink as well.
Oh, they missed the fissure onto the Invoker. He does get the cleave down, and oh my god! Sven just goes to town! Gets 2 kills instantly in the fight. He's chasing for more with the BKB on. Instead, going to fall back, has Godstrength still online for now. Blinks forward onto the tower. They do have to worry a bit about the split push up bottom lane, but for now, doing good damage to the tier 3 tower at mid. KP has Aegis online, holding onto the armlet for now, toggles it back on, and this tier 3 tower quickly going down. Jerax does not have mana to follow up the Yule Scepter with an LSA. Bottom lane taking about the similar amount of damage. Q going to blink forward as well. Has the Darkseid to back him up. It's just going to be just a surge forward. As Q looking for Forever will not find him. And it looks like the Sven will make his way out of mid lane. Still Aegis in hand. Although I believe the Aegis just expired. Yeah, Aegis just expired.
I mean, he's okay with that. It's just another item slot at this point when you have this much gold and you're this far ahead. You don't really care about the Aegis except for the next push, but even then, it's not really pivotal to you winning this game anymore, as they built up quite a bit of a lead, and this Broodmother's just built so defensively. She's got 0 damage. I feel like with 75, which is like 86 damage that she's doing right now, with the BKB, it doesn't really provide too much.
Overall, though, that trade still was like the best exchange we've seen for HOT6 in a long time. They took both teams got a tier 3 tower and they did similar amounts to the tier 3s, while HOT6 defended without having to fight into an Aegis.
Oh yeah, I agree. I think that's one of those that's kind of a wash, but HOT6 is probably okay with, considering the fact that they're behind. Like, when you're a team that's behind, you're okay with the 50-50 trade.
Yeah. Oh, Febby just was waiting for somebody to poke out. Instead said, I don't think he's coming. Let's just take the Spiderlings. Had the sentry down. This is where you really want those, like, off-the-map wards that give vision over the trees, where the Brood likes to roam about. Now KP at top. Oh, he sees the Dragon Slave. Doesn't blink it in. Does pop the Godstrength now. Blink in stun. Jerax gonna go down with just 4 swings of the big sword. KP finds a solar pickoff.
Yeah, not enough time for the Lina to get the Yules off or anything like that. And this Invoker did go for the Orchid, but it just feels like he's fallen off so hard, as he hasn't been able to get the individual pickoffs that you look for with that Orchid. And meanwhile, Kyo actually leapfrogs him in terms of net worth, and he's got a lot more relevant items right now, as he has the Necro 3 with the BKB as well.
It's crazy to think he had such a high impact in the first 10-15 minutes without the Orchid. It's not like the Orchid's the reason he's having a lower impact now, but since getting the Orchid, he hasn't found any use for it.
So a top center of the game right now is KP.
Free tier 2 tower goes his way. He's up to 5.3k gold now. Could buy something like the AC. Instead, going to buy the Boots of Travel for now. So that opens up an item slot since he can sell his treads and then still have a TP available. Especially when we mentioned there's no IO in their team, and you do want to have that TP available. Finally, it looks like MP's maybe found the pickoff. Runs into Nuts here in the jungle, but could pay for this with life, and he's not even get the kill. Great use of fog there from Nuts, using the trees, and they're going to actually catch on MP, so it's not finally, it's MP just feeling forced to try and make something happen, and just feeds away his own life.
Yeah, and he was hoping to at least get 1 kill there, but if you're a core 2-position player with an Orchid and you can't kill a Witch Doctor at this phase of the game that fast, I mean, the situation just kind of looks grim for you, because that's where he excels right now, I feel.
Oh, they almost caught out one more. That fissure just half a second too late. Just the screen just flying through afterwards here. KP now coming in the front lines here. Hasn't purchased anything yet. He could buy back into this fight if he does happen to go down, but he's just going to Godstrength and focused on the melee racks. Glyph available for the die side, and they'll use it for now. As the Leshrek's going to miss a stun. KP forced a little bit back, but with the glyph wearing off, he's going to clean up this melee racks and blink forward, actually going for the kill. He did not expect that one. That's a dead shadow demon to start off this fight. Now Warcry out of there, gives him some armor. He can fight Sunby with this one. Nuts instead can become the new target. Down goes the Witch Doctor with the Sonic Wave. It's going to be Jerex getting low, but not brought down. Bevy, Blink, Echo Slam with a wall. 4-0 gets surrounded by MVP Phoenix, and they're going to take the mid lane of Rax and possibly swing their way top, possibly force out a GG, because this game quickly looking unsalvageable for the MVP HOT6 team, and their 2-0 lead looking like it's about to become a 2-1.
And what you want to take away from this is, if you're MVP Phoenix, you should be really pleased with this result, as it just felt like they flat out outplayed MVP HOT6 and got them to overcommit several times, and they just bought back right now with the Leshrac.
That just works against them, because they're not even close to finding a pickoff off of it. Instead, it's going to be QO finding a kill on the way out. Invoker goes down.
I believe it was to the
Necro. I was about to say, I'm not sure what actually killed. He must have been finding those Necro, because that, I mean, it feels like MP's having the QO game we saw in Game 1 and Game 2, where he feels like he's in this position where he has to make so much happen to give his team a shot, but in the end, it just kind of works the opposite way.
Yeah, and like I said, the Sven doesn't even need the Aegis. He would prefer to have these extra pair of treads.
Well, he can BKB out of this if he wants to. Will do so. Great fissure. Vacuum onto 2. They'll cleave him down. 4F goes down, as does HOT6. And with that, top lane exposed. God Strength already online, and KP will happily claim another lane of racks. And there we go. GG is called. We're going to a Game 4. Not as straightforward as they would have thought in Game 4. In Game 3.
In this game, I felt like it was the early game that was so much better for MVP Phoenix, because typically what ended up happening is that HOT6 got off to a hot start in the first 8 minutes, and then things just completely snowballed. This game, they waited for HOT6 to overcommit and over-aggress, and it just felt like they got a little bit more out of things this time around.
All right, well, we're joined again here at the panel by K-Pop and Purge. What do you guys make of Game 3?